Okay, before we get into the next dance.
Actually, I might tell a little story then?
Oh yeah, okay.
Might do a little story, eh?
Okay, just before we get into the next story, can everyone please give a big hand to Sandy, please? Volunteering and being the tree for the honeybee. Thank you very much, Sandy. Okay, I'm going to pass on to James, and he's going to just have a bit of a yarn with you fellas, okay?
When we take young blokes in the dance group in Waramba, the whole idea is to empower our Noongar peoples, you know. And so my older son Terry, he's got some weird mates, I tell you, and cousins and stuff. He had one bloke doing backflips and Dad, this Noongar, he's Murich. And I said, So that young bloke did a forward double pike split, landed on one leg, just to impress me. But when he looked at me, his eyes were bug-eyed and red. And I said, you don't partake in any drugs per chance, do you? And he didn't answer. But anyway, I said, basically we're not a rehabilitation unit. We're here to encourage young men that are up and running. We're not here to save people. We're here for people who want to be in it, and then we go further. Same as young Ian. I'm not saying it because there's some Wilkes family here. I'm saying it because he's a good young bloke that we talk about success principles in the Noongar world, how we can don't whinge about things, work out how you can actually tackle the problem and solve it. You know, actually think about solutions. And I said other things I keep talking to these young blokes. I say, set a little goal, just a little one, and then achieve it, then set another goal, achieve it. So Ian, he set a goal, man. We've been doing a lot of jobs lately, and so he put his money aside. He wanted to go to Bali, and so he did it. I mean, fantastic for a young fellow like that. Him and his girlfriend go to Bali for 5-6 days or so. It's wonderful. And that's the kind of thing I really enjoy, you know. Young men and women who've got a positive outlook and don't just talk about things, actually put it into action. And you know the old saying, don't wait to get it right, just get it going. And that's what we try and do. I remember going to York one year, and there was a fellow, I think he was a Benel, and he took us out on a cultural tour. Where was I? I think I was at Curtin Uni. Anyway, we went out there, and he told us a really top love story from York. You might have heard of this love story from York? I'll tell it to you because I really like this story. He took us on the high ground outside of York there, and he said, now you mob, look down there. This is high ground where us Noongars used to be, and we can tell where the territories are. That river over there, that's the border between, you know, I don't know what tribes, Ballardong, other side is Yuet, you know, that kind of thing. And you can tell where your boundaries are from the high ground. Anyway, he said, now look down to the Avon River. See that Avon River there? Look on the other side, what do you see? And we all had a look. And there was all these Balga trees. Big mob of them on the other side of the river. And he says, what did they look like? And we said, they look like people. What are they doing? Well, they look like people running up to the river. And he said, that's right. And he said, now have a look on the other side here, on the high ground. And we looked, and there's all these Balga trees everywhere. And he says, what do they look like they're doing? And we said, they look like they're running down to the river from the high ground. And he said, there's a beautiful story about this. It's a love story. He reckons there was a tribe on the other side and a tribe on this side. And in the old ways, we had arranged marriages. You just couldn't go and fall in love and just go with who you wanted. You had to go the proper law. Anyway, one day this young, handsome young bloke, young tall fellow, he went down there and he's getting some water down to the river from the high ground. And when he looked across the surface of the water, he spotted this vision, this absolute stunning young woman on the other side. She's from the low country, the tribe from that side. And she just happened to come up at the same time getting some water out of the Avon River, washing her face or something. And when they looked up, they spotted each other across the surface of the water. And it was like an instant, bang. There was some kind of chemistry happening there. And they smiled, they looked at each other. Then they both went their own ways. She sort of disappeared through the scrub like a vision. He went back up to his tribe. Next day he was thinking about it. Maybe if I go down same time, she might be back there. I'll just see what's happening here. So he went back down, and there she was again. The same lovely Yorga. She was beautiful. And he's a tall, strong young man, good looking. So he's getting water, and this time they're starting to wave to each other, you know. What's happening? What's going on, you know? You're Murrit, you're deadly, whatever. They disappeared again. Next day, we'll go back there same time, see what happens. Come back again. And they started to communicate. But of course, they wanted to, you know, get together. They wanted to have a little bit of a hug and a kiss and maybe a talk together, whatever. And they knew that it wasn't meant to happen. So one night, in the dead of night, they stole down to the river. They made plans. He jumped in, straight into the water, swam across, and spent some time with her on the other side. And they did this for quite some time. And then one day, the inevitable happened. They had a loving relationship. They got to know each other. And then one day, when the jet finishes destroying my story, one day, guess what happened? It had to happen, and it did happen, folks. The woman's tribe, clan, they found out that she'd been seeing this young man the wrong way. And straight away they jumped up, they grabbed their hitting sticks, all the kali, the boomerang, the spear, everything. And they said, that young man has bewitched our young woman. It's not her fault, it's his fault. And we're going to go over there and we're going to destroy them. We're going to jump in the water with our weapons. And so they started to stream up from the low country up towards the river. Same time, the young man's tribe, clan, found out that he'd been seeing that, and they said, well, look, we know it's not your fault, young fella. It's that young woman. Look how she's a witch, with them dark eyes flashing and a slight, twitch of the hips. And anyway, we know it's not you, young fella. It's that woman that did that to you. So we're going to punish them people. Grab all your weapons. Quick, let's go. And they started streaming down from the high ground. This time now the spirits got involved. One of the lesser spirits went and told, the big spirit, Baimi or Marangandi or whatever, told him, look, they're going to kill each other down here. What are we going to do? And the big spirit said, well, I put Noongar people on earth to care for all living things. Now they're going to kill each other. What's happening? So he said, oh, I better put a stop to this. So he went down and he threw a spell on the woman's tribe and he froze them into Balga trees. Bang! That side, just before they hit the river. Looked at the man's side and he froze them into Balga trees as they streamed down from the high country just before they got to the river. And he says, now, what do I do about the young man and the young woman? He said, I'm going to change that young woman into a rock face on that side of her side of the river. He went bang, changed her. She's the rock face on that side. You can see it there today. And he went, you young fella, I'm going to punish you as well. Bang, and he changed him into a bigger cliff face on his side of the river. If you go there, you can see it today. This smaller rock face and the cliff face, each opposite that river. And he said, now you're condemned to be the rocks for the rest of eternity. You're going to look at each other, but you'll never ever consummate your love. You'll never be able to come together. And that's your punishment. Look at each other and suffer, baby, for the rest of your lives, for eons and eons. But underneath, the big spirit didn't mention something. Underneath there's a clause in fine print on the curse. And it says, if, the big spirit did say this later on, apparently he said, if those rock faces somehow manage to touch over the years, if something makes them come together, I will release the curse. I will release the bottom tribe, the high tribe, and you two can be allowed to go together. You can come together and consummate your love for each other. And then the fellow who was telling us the story, he said, you know that Avon River is built on a fault line. There's two tectonic plates underneath there. That's why it's a river. and it could happen that those plates in the earth move, and the rock faces could actually, you know, smash together, come together. And me personally, I'm hoping that does happen somewhere without anyone getting hurt. I'm hoping there's a small earthquake, just enough to bring them rocks together, release all the people, and them two can just get on with it. Thank you very much, everybody.